Welcome to Mastery Mondays. I don't know, trying it. It sounds good. Okay. Today we're going to talk about healing the brain and gut function, but we're going to talk about some taboo subjects. Not just the processed food, but other things. One of them is autism. Okay, and this is something that over the last tyrannical takeover the last couple of years, we haven't talked a lot about, even though it's at epidemic proportions. So now if you're watching this on Dr. BVIP, you're going to watch this uninterrupted. And we've got the apprenticeship program is going to be on the 29th at high noon. We're going to talk about heart health, heart anatomy and physiology, heart pathology and disease, and how you can keep a healthy heart. And I'm not talking romance, baby. I'm talking physiology. And Extreme Health Academy, we're going to be doing a webinar coming up. And God bless you all for supporting that one too. Now, first world epidemics. Okay, now you just came off of, I just thought of like 4 things that would get me kicked off of YouTube and Facebook. So just know that I would say those. Autism. Okay, 1 in 38, it's actually a heck of a lot more than that. Okay, we're looking at around 1 in, 25. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. 70% are medicated. Now, where's the good research on giving a class 2 narcotic and amphetamine to a child with a developing brain? You're right, there isn't any. Okay, asthma. How many kids are allergic to our environment? 10%. 25% of allergies, diabetes, obesity, depression, cancer. No, we got to change this. What is the cause of this? If we had a herd of buffalo that had 1 in 38 with brain damage or autism, would we just be saying, gee, we're not getting enough medications to these people fast enough? We need better surgeries. We need more pharmaceutical products. You understand how crazy this is? So what's the cause of it? Is it environmental? Is it genetics? Are you just defective? Do a random malfunction? Do we need more drugs? So this is what you're going to see in kids today. And I'm talking kids, not the ones raised that were home birthed, the ones that have never had any type of medical interventions, the ones that are living with organic food that their parents grow. Okay, I'm not talking about that anomaly. Okay, even though that's how most kids were raised back 50 or 100 years ago. Okay, it's an anomaly now. What you're going to see in kids is behavioral, bowel, breathing, or skin issues. And what you're going to see in kids walking, you're going to see some damage. Like a normal human being walks like this. What you're going to see in brain damage is they're walking like this. Okay, that's toe walking. And all you got to do is just stand when you're driving by a school, and I'm talking elementary, high school, junior high school. These kids have 4 things going on: behavioral, bowel, breathing, or skin issues. This is a normal gut on the left. On the right, that massive big black area is the fundus of the stomach that's just exploded. And this has to do with incredible toxins in their gut or altered nerve supply to the gut. And we're going to get into that. So what I want to give you is the solutions right away. We're going to go into the causes of this. But if you see this damage in one of the videos, and this video is actually wiped out too by the censors because we talked about certain medical interventions that you can't talk about. And I've cleaned this up to where we can't talk about them, or we won't talk about them until the second part. But until genetic studies are done, a risk-benefit ratio for certain interventions that are censored. Now, what I mean by that is, think of every intervention in the world, everything. If I give oranges to 100 people, okay, you're right, one person might breathe it in and choke, okay, but they'll probably be okay. If we gave a vitamin C to 100 people, are they all going to have the same reaction? No. So there's a risk or benefit to everything intervention. That's why you have to weigh this. Should I do 1,000 international units of vitamin D3 if I've got a good exposure to the sun? If I have a cold, should I do 50,000 or 100,000? Where's the data for that? Do you know what I mean? So you look at each individual has an individual. And this is why the delusion of diagnosis that I've done before, if you have 20 people in a room, all with fibromyalgia, or all with high blood pressure, or all with autism, do they have the same medication history, birth history, trauma history, physical, chemical, or emotional stress history? So just know that interventions that are forced on the public universally, there's going to be a problem. So this is not medicine, this is not science, this is foolishness. And until we start to look at the individuality of everyone and look at a risk-benefit ratio, not one shot for everyone or one drug for everyone, that's insane. So let's say when you have somebody with brain damage and we know that there's a gut issue, gluten-free, dairy-free, no animal products for 60 days, and I'm not advocating veganism here. What I am saying is that a lot of the animal products are toxic. They're given hormones which are damaging to the human being. When a person is trying to rebuild the brain, they do need collagen, except it's hard to get the amino acids from animal proteins. Omega-3s in whole food form, the best healthy fats that you can get, and I'm talking anchovy, mackerel, sardine oil, all food and all supplements in whole food form. Get symmetrical movements, because when you're moving symmetrically, you're generating new neurons. This is literally called cross-crawl activity. Look at the soap, skincare, because anything you put on your skin gets in your bloodstream. And I know that sounds weird because I'm asking you to check for skin cream, even though we've just rolled up and had, man, shots in you every two, and did you check the ingredients on the soap? Or the skin cream, okay? Look at electromagnetic fields. Everyone is going to be negatively affected by it, everyone. But if your body builds cells faster than they break down, you're gonna notice less of a damage. Fermented foods, no processed foods. So let's look at autism, which is gonna affect about 1 in 2 kids by 2030. Some of them are saying that it's dire. Right now, it could be 1 in 36. Some say it's 1 in 25. Just know it's a lot of people. Now, 94% of these autistic kids, they will never have a job. Okay, they're going to be a drain on society. And they're, so we're looking at a massive wave of autism. Now, this is out of 2016, Frontiers of Cell Neuroscience. Neural inflammation and encephalitis and autism. In many years, autism spectrum disorders have been diagnosed as brain pathology, suggesting ongoing neuroinflammation or encephalitis. And this is huge. So if you look at inflammation of the brain, inflammation is a healing process. But to have inflammation, you have to have damage to that brain. So if we're seeing a universal damage to the brain, that's affecting 1 in 38, whatever number you want, because these are the full-blown autistic. What about the ones that have anxiety or attention deficit disorder or the other brain issues that our kids and adults are experiencing? In order to have inflammation, you have to have tissue damage. So these kids' brains or adults' brains are doing everything they can to heal. However, children with an autism spectrum diagnosis are not generally assessed for a medical diagnosis of encephalitis. Children with ASD diagnosis are not assessed for encephalitis. The purpose of this review of literature is to examine the evidence of neuroinflammation and encephalitis in those with autism spectrum disorders and in targeted treatment. So instead of thinking it's an emotional disorder, okay, brought on by refrigerator parents, okay, which is what they thought of back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, when it was 1 in 10,000 or greater, now that it's affecting every neighborhood. Because, I mean, in my era, they had a short bus that went around to a whole bunch of different schools to pick up the challenging kids, the kids with special needs. Now they have special needs in each classroom. Okay, we're the frog in the pot with the water being turned up. And then in neural inflammation, encephalitis, and autism. And I encourage you Because what we'll see is you've got the brain that's inflamed. You've got the plates of the skull coming together, and you've got sutures that literally the meninges of the brain, the covering of the brain, invaginates up through these. And you will, if you apply a little bit of pressure on a kid with autism, a little bit of pressure to equalize that, you're going to see their face go, ah. It's like, oh man, this feels so good, because their brains are literally exploding and inflamed. And I do it all the time. And you get these kids with self-stimming behavior because that generates dopamine and it calms them down. If you just put a little pressure on there, you'll literally see them calm down. But they're trying to help. So neuroinflammation, encephalitis, that means inflammation of the brain. In order to have inflammation, you have to have tissue damage. So something is crossing the blood-brain barrier. Something is crossing it, something is damaging these brains. Okay, it's not bad luck or bad genes. Future studies should include treatments for neuroinflammation in autism and spectrum disorder. Gastrointestinal issues. Now remember, we're calling the gut-brain connection, okay? The enteric brain, it's also called that, okay? The gut is huge. Now granted, we don't have a lot of real good food in our diet plan. In America, the majority of the number one source of calories in America is genetically modified high fructose corn syrup, which is toxic to the central nervous system. Well, autism spectrum disorder is characterized by communication impairments, social abnormalities, several medical comorbidities observed in autistic individuals. It's literally gastrointestinal tract. That's why I showed you that giant black area of that patient. A preponderance of evidence suggests a subset of autistic individuals exhibit GI abnormalities. Absolutely. Again, this is where neurotransmitters are produced. It's called the gut-brain connection. We've reviewed probiotics and prebiotics on emotional, cognitive, systemic, and neurovariabilities relevant to health and disease. See, what they're doing, they're manipulating the gut microbiome. So we know, and we've talked about this in the past, how virtually all medications, okay, can alter that microbiome in the gut. When we know that neurotransmitters are produced in there, this means virtually all medications can negatively affect brain function. Okay, now when we're looking at adults have a 1-in-1 brain problem ratio. We're talking Alzheimer's, dementia. This is 1-in-1. This means 100% of Americans, if they're doing all the protocols, that means you sign up and roll your sleeves up anytime the science, okay, even though it's just for a cold or flu, they want to shoot you with something. Or if you just go up to your doctor and say, "Doctor, please, I have high stress and I want you to give me lots of drugs for high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, or bowel disorders." I mean, you got to figure the healthcare system is literally giving a chemical that has a myriad of side effects that is not going to regenerate your body to alter your adaptation to stress. That's literally called healthcare, okay? And I know you're thinking, Jesus, these people must be smoking weed all the time. Maybe they are, okay? You got two choices, ignorant or evil, okay? So this is nuts. Brain-gut microbiotic access. So anything that damages that gut is going to damage that brain. It's interconnected. And when you have physical, chemical, and emotional stress, you got decreased blood supply to the gut. Okay, and so if you can see this, that this is hugely important, anything you do that damages the gut damages the brain. Bottom line. I mean, in the old days, we'd pray over food. Why? Because God brought it to you and it's going to become you. Okay, anything you eat becomes you. Okay, I know, crazy. Yeah, no, put the Twinkie down. Yeah, that's not food. No, have you ever seen it? Okay, I mean, when you were 5, it looked like food. Now, God, that sucker won't even burn. Okay, so now glyphosates. Okay, this is fantastic. Historians, and now I don't know if you've studied ancient history, and I'm talking like last year. Okay, something that was promised that had great advertisement that turned out to not be so great. Welcome to glyphosates, okay? Study confirmed glyphosates in breast milk of America's moms. Glyphosate found in urine, drinking water. Now, this is in almost every commercially produced bread, most commercially produced soy products, most corn have, BT corn in there. It's insane that this is a cancer-causing agent. It's found in breast milk. Okay, it's a mineral chelator, and it's an antibiotic. So what does that mean? It negatively affects the gut. Historians are going to look back on how willing we are to sacrifice our children and jeopardize future generations with a massive experiments based on false promises and flawed science just to benefit the bottom line of a commercial enterprise. Okay, if I covered up the 2012, would you think, damn, that happened last year? Just saying. But this was from 2012, and it's not about what you were thinking. Okay, this is about glyphosates. Okay. GI disorders. Conclusion. Results indicate a greater prevalence of GI symptoms among children with autism compared to control kids. And just understand, the gut and the brain are symbiotic. You can't have one functioning without other. You've got to look at the whole system. That's why it blows my mind to see a psychiatrist and a gastroenterologist not talking to each other. Okay, but what's the psychiatrist going to do? Give a toxic chemical that has the same effect that, it's just mind-blowing. Okay, diet follow-up. So when we recommend gluten-free, dairy-free, is there any evidence? Right here. The peptides from summer which derive gluten and caseins are thought to have a negative pharmacological effect on attention, brain maturation, social interacting, and learning. Our hypothesis that a diet without these proteins would facilitate learning. 4 years after the onset of the dietary intervention, normalized urine patterns, peptides were found after 1 year. Likewise, decrease in odd behavior, improvement in social, cognitive, and communication skills were registered. Think of this. What if we actually used our school system, okay, I'm glad you're sitting down because this would knock you over, okay, to not just teach the kids, and I'm not talking pronoun or gender because that's ridiculous, okay, I mean, it's life skills that they actually need to function in our world. Okay, that would make sense. So we give them food in the cafeterias that's good for their brain and body. We teach them where it comes from so when they're adults, they can make better choices. I know what you're going to say. Whoa! God, that's so complex. Our greatest teacher minds could never come up with something that brilliant. Yeah, schools to teach children how to live healthy. I know, I talk crazy sometimes. Okay, ketogenic diet. And look at this, ketogenic diet. So we got tons of kids who have seizures, tons of kids who have emotional issues, tons of adults, okay, that have onset Alzheimer's and brain fog and everything else. What do they say? A wide variety of neurologic diseases, epilepsy, headache, neurotrauma, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, sleep disorder, brain cancer, autism, pain, all benefit from a ketogenic diet. Okay, and they've known this since the 40s. Okay, there's an article out of 2012. And again, healthy fats, gluten-free, dairy-free, know that the brain can regenerate, okay, know that there's neurotoxins in the environment. So encephalitis is brain inflammation. That means there has to be some brain damage. Further studies to ascertain the potential best and non-responders to interventions. I mean, again, I know it sounds crazy because if there's one danger for the entire world, one therapy for the entire world, you're not going to think about individuality. Okay, is that stupid or stupid? Okay, unless you are in the right algorithm like some of my family members. Okay, then they'll say, oh, whatever the doctor says. Okay, no. Let's start treating each person like an individual. Okay, so what are the healthy fats? Organic butter, ghee, coconut oil, okay, olive oil, fresh flaxseed oil, because flaxseed oil rancidifies. Okay, the crappy oils, okay, this is stuff that your parents would not recommend. Corn oil. You don't get oil from a corn. You got to extract it. It's a chemical process. It's ridiculous. Rapeseed. So what do you do if you have this? Now, you can't give a standard autistic person this 3 to 7 day cleanse at VE Irons. I did the 7-day cleanse a couple of years ago, and let me tell you, as delicious as a clay shake sounds, brother, it's not. I'm telling you. It's disgusting, okay? It's thick and tasteless and gross, okay? Getting done with the 7 days, it was just like a marathon. But you're doing capsules of wheat germ, capsules of chlorella, capsules of whole beet. There's other things to do. Like I just finished a 5-day fast, okay, a water fast, and that's fantastic. There's ways to do it. Colonics, fantastic. If you're gonna do a colonic, we got a lot of people that are doing colonics or liver cleanses because the liver is being poisoned by a lot of the medications and toxic food. You can juice fast the week before. We recommend typically 3 colonics, so that way you can get everything working correctly. You get hook up with a good colon hydrotherapist, and you're going to be amazed. EDT chelation. We do this in Mexico, where you're literally, this binds to not just heavy metals, it binds to a lot of stuff. Now I've seen some great studies on EDT chelation and a lot of the damage from certain injections that were popular in the world, okay, the last couple of years, okay, that we can't talk about. Oral chelation. This means that everything that you go to the store, you choose. Okay, I mean, just make that choice. Like, get some more cilantro. Okay, look at colon cleanse, liver cleanse, diet high in fruits and vegetables, organic. Take a quality mineral supplement. Get up to 2 to 3 healthy bowel movements a day. Okay, but in order to do that, you got to look at the physical, chemical, emotional stress. We do intravenous detoxing and intravenous nutrients in our clinic in Mexico. There's some clinics up here in America. Just make sure that they're doing appropriate levels. You can even do just oral. Chlorella cleans and binds to heavy metals. Spirulina is great for getting the crap out of the system. Nattokinase, okay, is amazing for dealing with some of the effects of products that were forced on the public over the last couple of years. Boy, okay. Miso, okay, fantastic for radiation poisoning. So if you remember way back ancient history, Fukushima, yeah, that's still going on. Okay, we're getting a lot of radiation, particularly in the more north of us. Clay detoxing, you can mix this up. Eating dirt's been popular for years, and not just since you guys were kids. Okay, no, you can mix it up. Clay, cacao, peppermint oil. It will start to bind and detox the systems. Nebulizers, oh my gosh. I mean, we nebulize colloidal gold, colloidal silver. You can nebulize glutathione. It's fantastic. It just whips it up into an air. And this is a great way. But now, I'm not a big fan of having a horrible diet, horrible lifestyle, not taking care of your physical strength, and doing a nebulizer. You know, these are all additives that you can do to a healthy lifestyle. Phytonutrients, organic juice. Okay, this pre-digested, and the solution to pollution is dilution. So if you're toxic from eating toxic foods, this is going to be ideal. Enzymes. This means living food. Okay, and food that comes out of the ground, which I harvested some potatoes, and that's a trip. Okay, you see a potato plant like this big on top, and you got like 8 to 10 potatoes down there. It's like gold, baby. Okay, but that's metabolic and digestive enzymes coming right out of the earth. It's cool. Okay, now whole grain seaweed, wheatgrass, radiation, bee sick, buckwheat, seaweed. I mean, seaweed's fantastic, but just make sure where it comes from, that it's not come from China or Japan. I mean, look at this bowl. Who doesn't want to dive into this bowl? Baby, I mean, every color in there is a different phytonutrient. I mean, eat for colors. Okay, this is fantastic. Forget the rainbow and the flag, put the rainbow in the bowl, okay? Now, vitamin C, okay, you can get it from peppers, jalapenos, guava, okay? I mean, all of this. It's just let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. Natural sources of vitamin E, sweet potatoes. Do you know how much of my garden I got devoted to sweet potatoes? Okay, I'm talking maybe 15%. Okay, because they're good, they last a long time, and you can make them into anything. Okay, vitamin A, beef liver, carrots, sweet potatoes, again, broccoli, butter. I mean, you can grow sweet potatoes in a 5-gallon bucket, okay, on a balcony. It's like super, super easy. So when we talk about healing the brain, number one thing, like let's say you got a friend that's uber in debt. Raise your hand if you know somebody like that. Okay, okay, good. Okay, now, have they tried to borrow money? Yes, I know they have. Okay, I know. Okay. What I told a friend a few years ago, I said, look, if you're in a hole, stop digging. Okay? If you're poisoning yourself, stop it. Okay? If you're taking a toxic chemical, if you're taking the glyphosates, if you're eating food that's not really food, stop poisoning yourself. Okay, number one. That would be good. Then, this is what you use to regenerate. Okay, you get proper nerve supply, regular exercise, symmetrical movement, proper nutrition, sufficient rest, and prayer and meditation. It can't be that easy, but it is. Now, the second part of this, we're going to go into, whoops, because I put a word up there that I should have censored. Okay, so we're going to go into the topics that I think I cleaned this top up now, because with the censorship, you can't say certain words, comrades. Okay, but now that Kim Jong-il is now part of the World Health Organization, the world will be a lot freer.